Aliens in our midst. When we think about plants, we imagine green, harmless, and peaceful living organisms, mostly bearing beautiful flowers. But do you know that plants can be bullies too? You see, when a species arrives in a new area, with or without human help, it may or may not survive. If it can survive without any human help and establishes a population and quickly spreads to great distances, then these species are known as invasive alien species. Invasive alien species are those species that are non-native and have spread beyond their natural area. These invasive alien species can bully native species and outcompete them for resources like food, light, or space, thus threatening native biodiversity. They cause biodiversity loss, alter native vegetation, affect crop production, and can have negative impacts on human health, thus causing worldwide economic loss of hundreds of billions of dollars every year. But keep in mind that not all introduced or alien species become invasive. Introduced species that cannot survive without the help of humans are referred to as casuals. Did you know that potato, even though it is a popular vegetable in India, is actually from South America? Potatoes cannot survive and establish populations in India without human help. Hence, they are alien but not invasive. Introduced species that can reproduce and sustain their populations without human assistance but do not necessarily invade new areas are called naturalized species. Tamarind, coconut, and bougainvillea are great examples of commonly observed naturalized species in India. Vegetables, ornamental plants with attractive flowers that are imported from other countries, can be useful and add value. However, some imported or alien species can become invasive. When invasive alien plants invade their new territories, the native species often are not suited to compete or defend themselves from these newly arrived invaders. These invader species do not have their old natural enemies present, which prevented them from growing uncontrollably in their native land. Some of them might also produce new chemical compounds, which, when released in the soil, do not allow other plants to grow. Most invasive plants grow very rapidly and produce lots of seeds. They grow easily, and some of them have beautiful flowers as well, which make them desirable to humans. In India, many alien plant species that are currently invading new areas were intentionally introduced by humans. This was mostly done to beautify the landscape. Lantana camara, featured in the IUCN list of 100 of the world's worst invasive alien species, was introduced in India for its beautiful flowers. You may have seen lantana in your localities, growing along roadsides, vacant lands, or even in your gardens. Lantana camara, commonly known as the wild sage, is actually native to tropical America. The flowers smell beautiful, are colorful, and each flower head can have up to 40 tiny flowers. Even though it attracts a lot of butterflies, bees, and other insects, lantana releases chemicals into the surrounding soil, which prevents the growth of other plant species. It grows very quickly and surpasses other species, threatens agriculture and pastures, is toxic to livestock, and increases the risk of forest fire. It produces so many seeds and can reproduce and disperse vegetatively as well. Studies have shown that lantana has already invaded forests of the southern Western Ghats, central India, and the Shivalik hills at the foothills of the Himalayas. Lantana is just one of many invasive plants in India. Parthenium hysterophorus, or carrot grass, is another invasive species that was accidentally introduced in India. Alternanthera phylloxeroides, or alligator weed, Bidens pilosa, or cobbler's pegs, Chromaloena odorata, or Siam weed, Euphorbia hyssophifolia, or the hyssop spurge, Asclepias curasavica, or tropical milkweed, Ipomia hederifolia, the scarlet morning glory, Sphagniticula trilobata, the creeping oxeye, and Ipomia obscura, the small white morning glory, are a few of the other invasive alien species found in our country. Additionally, you can also find invasive animals such as the silver carp fish, the warbling white-eye bird, the African giant snail, and the mealybug. Unfortunately, climate change is set to help invasive alien species wreak more damage in India in future years. The direct effects of climate change could include the establishment of new invasive species or changes to the distribution of current ones. Many studies have shown that a global increase in temperature can favor the growth and abundance of invasive alien species. Invasive species that were introduced by humans but were unable to spread in the past may now find it easier to succeed due to climate change. So, what can we do to deal with the problem of invasive species and prevent further invasions? It is well known that prevention is better than a cure, something that we have seen in the case of COVID-19 as well. So here are some of my suggestions based on my experience working with invasive alien species. 1. Preventing the introduction of species that are known to be invasive in other countries. 2. Preventing the introduction of potentially invasive species by conducting tests to find out how risky they are of becoming invasive in the area of introduction. This test is known as the Weed Risk Assessment, and it involves answering questions related to the species being imported. 3. Screening imported plants and animals for hitchhiker species, which accidentally tack on to the plants being brought in legally, so that we can prevent accidental introductions of new, unnecessary species. 4. Stop bringing or taking any seeds, fruits, saplings, or animals during your travel. 5. Not buying or planting any known invasive species in your garden. 6. Removing known invasive plants from your garden or your localities and discarding them properly. Don't forget, you have to pull the roots out too, not just the stem. 7. Taking care to not release exotic pets such as aquarium fishes into natural areas such as local water bodies. 8. Planting native plants in your garden. And 9. Spreading the word. Tell others about invasive alien species and share a bit more information that you've learned today. After all, we all could do with a few less invasive species in our native areas, don't you think?